Nice to be with you. Nice to have you on the program this morning, sir, and it's a pleasure. We also have, should I say a partner in crime? We don't really commit a crime per se, but it's just one of the way folks see it. Let me say good morning. Let me say good morning to Mr. McIntyre. Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning to you, GT, man. I'm good. I'm great. I'm blessed. Mr. Macfield, good morning to you, and good morning to your listeners and followers everywhere.
Yeah, we certainly happy to have you. Of course, Richard didn't hear you for some reason or the other, but we will fix that as we go along this morning. So, Mike, how you doing? Well, I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks, and I know what you're under certain circumstances that I were not on, and of course, hope everything is all right. Hope everything is all right with you.
Yeah, man. Everything is really going on some personal and professional engagements and so forth. That does not afford me to be there in person, but there are able-bodied persons within the foundation that are able to carry the mandate and the expectations of the organization. But I'm doing personally very good.
All right, I'm happy to hear that. But usually around this time of the morning, we kick into, of course, what's buzzing. And typically, I would say what's in the buzz this morning, we know what's taking place, of course, Hurricane Melissa. I know a couple of ladies that named Melissa. For some reason, I say no more.
Yes.
We know what's taking on Hurricane Melissa, and what's possibly going to take place with the island of Jamaica. What's your take on that, sir? Let me get it from Mr. McIntyre. Let me get a feel from Mr. McPhail also as we move along this morning.
Well, it is not unexpected because we are in the peak hurricane season 2025, obviously, and so those tropical cyclones are expected to behave the way they are. And if anybody is surprised, I will be surprised, technically. But we empathize with the countries that are under threat at this moment. For instance, we have Jamaica up in the north, and we have Haiti just across. And we are blessed, we are spared this year that we have not had that kind of threat facing us this year, but we're not out of the woods. And as a matter of fact, if we speak climate change and we speak that things can happen anytime, it doesn't have to be a tropical cyclone. But as we speak, and as the system become closer, Melissa, it therefore means that locally in Grenada and the rest of the lower Southern Caribbean, that we also have to look out for the waves and so on, because once you have a system that's outside there on the ocean and making its way towards landfall, it does create some turbulent seas and so on, and that could end up in coastal erosions. In some cases, aspects of the system will also affect us by other systems following, like we may have other tropical depressions and tropical waves coming. So as the local saying would go, when your neighbor house is on fire, wet yours. So what Grenada should be doing at this time is following very closely, and I'm sure that the agency itself is following, because if we are not directly impacted, indirectly we have to lend some support, either sending technical persons through CDMA or be preparing to do the relief process in ensuring that the people who are affected, they get the necessary relief as quickly as possible.
I know, maybe from your experience, so have you ever seen a category that size headed to Jamaica, Ron? Is it the first time for that particular size of it? Is it the first time for that particular size?
No. Jamaica has faced all levels of hurricanes before. If you can recall, Hurricane Ivan in 2004 struck us as a very strong Category 3. But actually, when it struck Jamaica, it was a Category 5. So Jamaica has had its fair share. Haiti has had their fair share of those categories, and therefore they would be putting the systems in place to deal with that. And there's not a lot you can do with Cat 5s, 4s and 5s, etc., because they're very, very strong. You have winds up to 150, 155 miles per hour striking down. That's ferocity. And so it speaks to a lot of what you would have done in building your infrastructure, how well you built your emergency operating center, how well your shelters are, and how well the housing stock themselves are being built. That will speak to the level of impact. And your coastal areas, your environmental protection areas, and so on, how much has gone into that. So it's not surprising that you have a system, particularly around this time of the year, late September, October, going into the ending of the official hurricane season, you do have these strengths of hurricane that really make landfall.
Mr. McPhail, of course, I know you've been following, sir. What's your take on what's happening, of course, in terms of you've been following the various news around the Caribbean, especially the weather reports and so forth. What's your take in terms of what's going on in Jamaica?
Well, I empathize with the citizens in Jamaica, but it leaves me to wonder, why Haiti again?
Yeah.
You know, Haiti shares a landmass with the Dominican Republic, and somehow they are always spared, but Haiti always gets the brunt of it.
Interesting.
You know, and it's very, very interesting. A very interesting phenomena as to the reason why.
All right. Well, I guess with the current projection of the hurricane, you know, they're going to be feel a little bit of the impact. Jamaica will get the blunt of it, and we hoping for the best.
Mr. McIntyre mentioned Hurricane Ivan hitting Jamaica. Go back further and recall Hurricane Gilbert.
Yeah.
That destroyed Jamaica. Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the reggae artists also sang about Hurricane Gilbert.
I remember that.
It really did a number on Jamaica.
Yes.
But GT, following up on what Richard had said in terms of the trajectory of tropical cyclones, there was one time that people locally were saying that Grenada is out of the hurricane belt. So there's actually a path that the hurricanes or the tropical cyclones follow off the coast of Africa. And the more south you are on the equator is the less vulnerable or exposed you are. So the countries that are up further north, when the systems come across east to west and they rise towards the north, they do generate the energy lower down the chain, and as they go up, there's a particular track that they would follow. And Haiti and the landmass of Hispaniola, Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Haiti is a massive landmass, and so likewise is the Dominican Republic. So the track of hurricanes themselves, tropical cyclones, as they come through, once they head north, Haiti would be in the line of fire, Jamaica would be in the line of fire, Miami would be in the line of fire. And so also is Cuba. So you will always ask the question, Haiti, I'm sorry, and why Haiti again? But your geographical location sometimes put you at some levels of vulnerability and some level of exposure. And I think Haiti, it will happen, it has happened, and it's unfortunate because the economic condition does not afford them to be more resilient, and that's why the impacts of those systems are sometimes a bit greater than you would see it in some other countries.
But also in terms of earthquakes would affect Haiti and not Dominican Republic.
I know he seemed to be singling out Haiti for a wee bit, and I certainly do understand. You know, Mr. McIntyre, you know, in our conversation for way back and always, preparedness is always something that you focus a whole lot in terms of individual being prepared. I have listened to the Jamaican Prime Minister speaking and urging the citizens of Jamaica to be prepared and showing out that encouragement for folks to make sure that when the time comes, they have minimal, of course, casualties per se, because folks are prepared. And you know, he did make a statement that grabbed my attention a whole lot when he mentioned, you know, the most significant part of this is directly after that hurricane has passed. He's hoping that, you know, within hours after the hurricane has passed, they could not only they could get that recovery effort going in there, and you know, to help the citizens. So that's something very encouraging to hear, you know, in terms of the preparedness part of it.
Is it Prime Minister Holness?
Prime Minister Holness, yes, the Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Yes, so I guess he's preaching disaster wholeness so that you can be generally prepared. So that's correct. That's good.
I like the way you put that there, sir. So yes. as we go through this morning, of course, our conversation will be based on a whole lot. We're probably going to come back and talk more about this, but we due for a break. Let's take it, and when we come back, we're getting to the meat of our conversation this morning. Stay with us, folks. To the point. Classic Radio GBN TV. We will be right back after the break.
Bubbles, PA Rentals and Event Supplies, Chateau de la Mosque Grenada, Captain Harris Apartments, Gem Holiday Beach Resorts, Dana City Inn, Grenada Trade Center, proud partners of the 19th Annual Hubbard's Legends in Concert, Sunday, November 9th, 5 p.m., Grenada Trade Center.
Grenada, get ready! GBN and the Ministry of Education presents Christmas Harmonies 1.0. The inaugural primary school choir singing competition. December 5th, 1 p.m. The Grenada Trade Center. 15 schools, magical voices, and fierce competition. Cheer for your favorites in categories like Overall Champion, Most Creative, Best Solo, and Best Group. Entrance, adults $10, children $5. Don't miss the holiday magic. Christmas Harmonies 1.0, where Grenada's brightest and young voices shine. Be there.
Hey everyone, here is an invitation to join me this and every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on GBN Television 711 K105 FM, our Facebook page and YouTube channel for Kaiso Talk. Meet the Kaisonians, hear their stories, feel the vibes. Kaiso Talk, Wednesdays 8:30 p.m. Compliments for Grenville Credit Union.
Got something to share?
Call us at 440-1252.
WhatsApp 405-3052 or 407-8458.
Or email gbnnews@gbn.gd.
GBN News, first, accurate, voted #1.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again. I'm your host, GT, with you this morning here on today's edition of To The Point. We have once again Mr. Richard McPhail with us this morning, and of course, Mr. Silver McIntyre, who's of course with offshores, but he, of course, chiming in with us on today's program. Mr. McPhail, once again, before we entertain Mr. McIntyre, who's always with us. You're here in the, I would say, in the hot seat, per se, on the program this morning. You're part of course, and highly associated with Mr. Silver McIntyre, being part of his foundation and so forth. Talk to me about something about yourself in terms of, this disaster management and things of that nature that draws your attention the way that it has.
Oh, well, thanks, GT. I'm part of the foundation, yes, but I'm also a district coordinator for NADMA.
Okay.
District coordinator for the district of St. George South, which includes Woburn, Grandans, Belmont, Paddock, that sort of area, Kelly's, Point Saline.
All right. Being a district coordinator, I'm going to get into you a wee bit. Being a district coordinator, how important is your role, sir?
Well, in terms of disaster preparedness and also in follow-up, should there be disaster? And we're not only talking hurricanes now.
I know. I mean, disasters is
widespread.
Various emergencies
could be man-made. We have fires at times. We have landslides that we have to deal with, flooding in areas, and so I have to coordinate those efforts.
Yeah. And coordination in coordinating in terms of getting folks who volunteer their services.
Right, because we have a number of committees. We have a committee dealing with shelter management, relief supplies, road clearance, a number of different committees. So probably about 8 subcommittees.
That task at hand, talk to me about that task at hand, being the coordinator.
Well, this
plays a vital role. For example, in the not in the aftermath, but during burial, for example. Yeah.
I was going from shelter to shelter. I have 5 shelters in the south. We have one at Kelly's Government School. We have at Woburn Methodist School, South St. George Spring School, the Grandans Baptist Church on the highway. There's also one at Maranatha Seventh-day Adventist Church in Montu. Now these shelters besides being managed, we also have to have other support staff in these shelters.
All right.
Because you may have persons there on medication, persons who would come there without anything to eat. Although we normally say that you work with at least 3 days supplies before the agency kicks in. So we have all of that to deal with.
All right, and being the main coordinator for the south of St. George, how do you go about making sure especially the shelters, the volunteers, keeping abreast? You did mention that phone. That phone plays a vital part in everything that you do, and staying connected is also crucial. Yes. In terms of when a particular disaster or whatever emergency that may occur within the area that you are, of course, been given the opportunity to look over. Taking that full management, sir, as a disaster coordinator, how do you really manage it?
Well, I have a good support team. Put it this way, I have a very able deputy, and the committee chairs, they all play their part and step up to the role.
All right. Well, it's good to hear what you do, sir, and certainly hope that it's been a pretty quiet year for us, 2020-25 so far.
So far.
And we're hoping that in a matter of weeks we get out of the season, but there's always that occurrence where sometimes we get those alter-season systems developing and so forth. So we still hoping that nothing occurs, and and the Almighty continues to smile and greet.
If we can recall, it was December when there was disaster in St. Vincent.
Yes,
remember massive flooding and so on.
I remember that. I remember one year in the month of February. You remember there was a hurricane in Cuba.
Yes.
Yeah. And these are things that sometimes the outer season activities, sometimes we do have to pay attention to that,
because most times we're not prepared for that.
You know. And as I jump into the conversation, there's something myself and Mr. Silver McIntyre always talk about, and he always stressed another preparedness, continuing to urge citizens to be prepared, even though nothing is happening. But make sure you don't want to have that. We always get into that panic shopping and stuff like that, and we want to rush because. But if you always put outside something and have it there just in case. We
have to remember the 5 virgins, the 5 wise virgins, the 5 foolish ones. So we have to be prepared.
All right. Let's get into our subject matter of conversation this morning. Mr. McIntyre, I guess you're backing us on this again, and our focus conversation this morning is primarily going to be on the design, of course, and designing our roadways to facilitate better road safety. When we say design and designing, that is left up to the folks in authority. But it has to be done in a particular way that it helps to in terms of the safety of citizens, pedestrians per se, how the roadways are designed. Sometimes we see new roadways are designed and it lack a lot of the extra facilities to accommodate road users per se, the sidewalks and all of these things. We wonder why are these things, when they are in design, they're not put in place until the fact after, or there are now rails in certain parts where you may not be able to put a you say walkways, but rails are there to safeguard, road users, we say, vehicles and so forth, depending on the nature and where that particular roadways are put in place. Now, what can we do? What would you say? And I believe that I'm going to start with you, Mr. Backfield, and we're going to have Sullivan and chiming from time to time. How could we facilitate to have roadways designed better, just to facilitate better road safety per se?
Well, part of the problem, GT, goes back to when the roads were initially designed. Some roadways.
Well, we know Grenada Road was not designed for the use that it's getting now.
Right. So, in terms of widening, there isn't much that we can do.
Yes.
To put sidewalks would take up some of the limited road space that we have right now. Mm-hmm. But new roads that are being done, for example, the road, that Cliff project.
Yes.
That's being done with a sidewalk in mind.
Okay.
So that is being done. When Molineux was done, a sidewalk was also done. Right? So new roadways coming up is being designed with sidewalks in mind, pedestrians in mind.
Yeah. So when you want to chime in on that, and anyway, put your input in that, sir.
Yeah, just a little bit, and that should be Richard's forte a little bit. But he's absolutely right in terms of what we inherited, the designs of those roads and so on. But obviously, we cannot change the past, but we could do some modification, obviously, to facilitate greater road safety. And going forward, I think we need the vision, and projecting and so forth sometimes has been our limitation in that we don't project that far. We don't envision things 20, 30 years down the road. And I think if the people before us did that, and if those who came on that started to build had done, if you have a business, obviously, or you want to go into business, there's what you call a feasibility study. And if you're going to build a building as well, you will also do your environmental impact assessment, the EIAs, etc. Similarly, if you're going to build a road in a particular community or an area, those considerations, we're hoping that those are undertaken. But it leaves a lot to be desired sometimes when you see modern roads are constructed, modern facilities are being built, and some things are not inclusive. Sidewalks are a very welcome initiative to facilitate road safety. But often, the vulnerable, particularly the blind persons, I don't know how much consideration is really given to creating walkways and passageways and so forth to accommodate them. Those who are hearing impaired in some way, do we create things that would cause them to be able to react in a safer manner? The pedestrian crossings and so on, are they being positioned in the better of places? And road signs and lighting, those are critical. I would want to be able to stop here, but those are some of the consideration that must be taken. Not even just lighting, but the type of light, and not just the pedestrian cross, but the location of those pedestrian cross, and in some instances, the speed bumps. And we believe that consultation is key to a lot of things. And what we find, the technical minds, the recently graduated from institutions of learning, are the ones, some of them, who are very eager to implement. And sometimes the local knowledge is not really integrated into what they really do. So we are hoping going forward, and as Richard mentioned earlier on, seeing the roadway with sidewalks and so on, the newly built or recreated ones and so on, that is a really big plus. It definitely would generate greater road safety. But that road safety in itself may be for the pedestrians. But we have to look at pedestrians, and we have to look at motorists, and we also have to look at residents. So in some places, some roads are being built, you do not have proper retaining walls and the size of the retaining walls. So you may have residents in particular areas, and they are exposed. They might be at the bottom of some roadways, and sometimes rails are not really put in to prevent vehicles that may run off and could get down into those places. My thing, I think the genesis of this conversation in terms of designing and redesigning of roadways, the idea is to generate that awareness, that greater consideration should be given now in redesigning and establishing new roadways.
So I was saying, road safety in Grenada is sometimes maybe from my personal feelings towards it is given minimal attention sometimes. It's not until, as I say, we become a little bit reactive every time something occurs, an accident, someone gets hit by a vehicle using the roads and so forth, then we sprung that reaction because of something occurred. Where would we be able to see, especially from, government and folks in authority who are responsible for that, to put more attention into the safety of pedestrians and road users in general? What will we really see that taking place, sir?
The thing about it is, GT, sidewalks are provided in some areas. Yeah. For example,
it's going to be accommodated.
Montrouge, along the Morris Bishop Highway, and in Grand Anse generally. Yeah, in Grand Anse, right up to the Lagoon Road.
Yes.
However, a lot of persons do not use the sidewalks for whatever reason. They prefer to walk in the road. Yeah. Early morning joggers would jog in the road along the highway and not use the sidewalk. I don't know why, but the sidewalks are provided for your safety.
Yes.
Right? The other thing is, along the highway and in Monroe, the sidewalks are only on one side of the road. Why is that so?
And people has to use both sides.
Both sides of the road.
Yes.
Right? You go down one side by Spicing.
Yes.
But when you're coming up on the other side, there's no sidewalk. Same with the highway. One side, the left side has sidewalks, and then the side with the business places don't have.
But what could we do? I mean, from your foundation point of view, together with Mr. Silver McIntyre, you've been clamoring for these things to occur. What can we do? We heard, of course, a couple of months ago, of course, the walkovers and so forth from government, said they were on island. We still haven't seen much movement, little or no movement in terms of that as yet. What could
well, in terms of the walkovers, as you mentioned it, let me just mention here. The walkovers are on island.
Yes, we have heard that from one of the coordinators of that.
Right.
Yes.
The problem is the Nawasa expansion water project is on now in the south.
Yes.
Okay, so the roadway is in a mess. There's no point or very little point in going to try to do the walkovers now when the entire roadway from Point Saline right up to Port Highway would be repaved.
Okay. So those are the main reasons why we haven't. Why we haven't
seen the
implementation of it.
Yes, just as yet.
All right.
Right. So it will be done.
We'd have been happy to hear that from the authorities, though. We would have happy to hear that from the authorities.
Yeah.
The reason why. I mean, Mr. McIntyre is one who has always spoken about that and referenced to that a whole lot on the program.
I did some inquiry.
I'm certainly happy to hear those are the main. That's one of the main reasons that we are not hearing from it as yet.
Yes.
All right. That's interesting to know, and that's a valid reason, for not having the walk is because it's been an island more than a year.
More than a year. Came sometime June, July 24.
2024. All right. Mr. McIntyre, how you feel about hearing that, sir?
I really don't know how to feel about it. I accept the explanation, but as you said, we would have hoped that it should have appeared as something of.
I seem to have lost Mr. McIntyre there for a wee bit in terms of connection issue there from his.
It's delayed otherwise.
Okay. Yes, we're back at you. We lost you there for a second, Mr. McIntyre. Thanks, connection reasons.
Okay. All right.
You back, so you could continue in terms of what you were mentioning.
Right, I did lose you for a little bit as well. So I don't know what point you lost me, but I'm saying it's good to know that is still on the burner. But my concern would be, at what level is that thing prioritized? And we believe that if it is highly prioritized, then like every other thing else, the information relative to its installation should be made public. People should be aware of it and understand that there's a foundation who is clamoring for it. We should not be sounding like the lone voice in the wilderness that we don't know what's happening. People may say, well, if you want to know, you should go to the ministry or go to somewhere to find out about it. But we believe that if it was made public one time, that it was going to be initiated within a particular time. Then if there is a delay, then it should have been made public that there is some reason why it is delayed. And I am not sure still that the repaving of the road and the establishing of the framework for that, if we're speaking about repaving, if it's going to affect greatly the infrastructure and everything else, it will take some time. But if it's just repaving and the understanding as to where the Nawasa lines and everything are being placed, I don't really buy into that too much. I mean, that's my personal opinion. It's not even the opinion of the foundation technically, but I do think that the lack of the information relative to what's going on there and the delay for it, I think before that those lines and everything else were being laid was released, that it was going to commence by a particular time. And I maintain that if it was going to be delayed, that it is owed to us that we're having some challenges in doing that. And we are concerned about the safety of persons using the sidewalks and the streets in Grand Anse. And you asked the question, or the statement was made that the sidewalks are created for people to use, and why are they not using it? I am sure that a caller or callers, when we open up the lines later on, will say to us, one of the reasons why the sidewalks are not being used, because the pedestrians are not often left with a choice than to go into the road, because the pedestrian walkways and sidewalks are often obstructed by parking vehicles, by other things encroaching, packers, peddlers, people who are selling, etc., and on all those things. They would tell you that walkways and pedestrian crossings and so on and sidewalks are really obstructed and impeded because of the interventions of other things. So yes, when things are designed, there has to be the enforcement policy. We have to be more stringent in how we enforce the no vending in some areas, the no parking and all these things. And those things would definitely give people a sense of greater assurance and feeling safe. Not that, we designed it and so forth, but if things are preventing us from doing it, definitely, human will be directed in another direction and they'll take different courses of action.
I would agree with you on that point. Sometimes you see sidewalks and we come to a nighttime parking lot. Some say in some areas. In some areas,
yes, but parking on a sidewalk is a ticketable offense, and I've seen vehicles being clamped on sidewalks.
Yes,
and so.
But it seems it's not causing someone to not want to do it, or individuals not want to do it, even though someone. But we see it continues to happen and continue to happen over and over.
So then there's need for public education.
But programs like this, and we do have the police coming from time to time, the traffic department, giving instructions and making statements in relative to that, and it continues to happen.
You think the sidewalk need to be wider, GT or Mr. McPhee?
Well, we run out of roads, Mr. McPhee. We certainly run out of roads now.
So that people can have more space, so that they can stay, and other people can do other things. Take more into people's property and make more sidewalk, or take a little bit in the road space. Should we have wider sidewalks then?
That is a point, but of course, being in the construction, how our island has been developed over the years, it may be a limited space to even have that taken care of. Maybe limited to have that taken care of. So back at that, we drew for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue our conversation. We take the conversation to another level when we come back. Stay with us, folks. To the point, Classic Radio GBN TV. We will be right back after the break. Don't touch it out.
Grenada, get ready! GBN and the Ministry of Education presents Christmas Harmonies 1.0. The inaugural primary school choir singing competition, December 5th, 1 p.m. The Grenada Trade Center. 15 schools, magical voices, and fierce competition. Cheer for your favorites in categories like Overall Champion, Most Creative, Best Solo, and Best Group. Entrance, adults $10, children $5. Don't miss the holiday magic. Christmas Harmonies 1.0, where Grenada's brightest and youngest voices shine. Be there.
Warning, this is not a drill. Grenada, Christmas is coming early, and it's bringing over $100,000 in cash and prizes to the National Cricket Stadium. Get ready for the massive Christmas in November Mega Bingo, happening Sunday, November 2nd from 5 p.m. Come out and win big. Household prizes like living room set, gas cooker, TVs, dining room set, washing machine, fridge, bedroom set, and so much more. But wait, if that wasn't enough, how about $50,000 in cold hard cash? Can I get a cha-ching? Tickets are only $60 for one or $100 for two. And yes, we've got you covered with free buses island-wide. So no excuses, just excitement. Sunday, November 2nd. It's time to kick off the season with a bang at Christmas in November. Mega Bingo!
He was a voice from the pulpit, now away from the altar, but never away from purpose. Father Gerald Paul now takes the Legends stage with fire, conviction, and a calypso that's stirring the nation. The 19th annual Hubbard's Legends in Concert, Sunday, November 9th, 5 p.m., Grenada Trade Center. Father Gerald Paul sings Truth to Power.
In face of all this violence, I will preach
Along with the Best of Grenada, Black Prince, and the Pink Panther. Tickets $60 and are available at all Gittins Healthcare Pharmacies. Quick Stop at Otway Service Station, Springs Food Mart, Clear Vision Eye Center, Gittins Pharmacy, St. George's, St. David's Pharmacy, and GoodFed.com. Father Gerard Paul, along with the voices of legends and their stories that shaped generations. The 19th annual Hubbard's Legends in Concert. One stage, one night. Get your tickets now.
Cannot just pretend everything is fine as I run me mind.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. And, of course, Mr. Sylvan McIntyre with us this morning remotely. And, of course, Mr. Richard McPhail with us here in the studios. Gentlemen, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I want to take the conversation to another level, sir. This part of the conversation, I would say, stems to be something that we all pay attention to in today's world. Technology. It has suddenly become a way of life for a lot of us. Now, how could we, with the level that technology is in the world today, how could we leverage it, or leverage technology per se, to enhance road safety, especially in our little small island of Grenada? Let's hear your take on that, Mr. McPhail. How could we incorporate technology to a stage, or leverage or use it to a stage where it could help us in terms of enhancing road safety?
If I may, technology could be disastrous for road safety. The gadgets, the cell phones, the tablets can be a distraction. And so while driving, for example, you see people texting while driving. So I'm not sure about the enhancement part.
I'm saying I understand that part of it, and I certainly get your take on it when you're looking at it from that point of view. You understand? It's illegal to be driving and texting. It's illegal to be driving and using your cell phone to make a call. We understand that totally. But I'm saying the use of technology, signage, for one. All right, giving people the traffic buildup is so and so yards away from you in terms of a major sign as you're driving, which doesn't distract you in a way of you paying attention to a small gadget as your cell phone. You understand? More major screens, bigger screens in strategic points around the island and so forth as you drive along. That's the angle I am looking at it this morning.
Okay, the installment of screens, because we don't have any at the moment.
Don't have many in Grenada that does that. Expects folks that use it for advertising and promotion purposes. Let's say the authority decide they want to use it for the purpose of for road safety, encouraging folks, hit the traffic or reduce your speed and signs of those nature.
That will be very wonderful to have those signs, because the signage on a whole needs to be improved in Grenada. Where you give way to traffic, where you have intersections coming up and so on. So in that sense, technology can enhance.
I want us to pause for a minute, and we certainly will come back. We have, of course, Mr. Walters from NAGMA this morning on the line, and he wants to, of course, just have a brief conversation with us. Sylvan, I hope you don't mind Mr. Walters just chiming in with us for a few seconds as we have.
No, man, I like Mr. Walters to come in, man.
Mr. Walters, good morning. Welcome, sir.
Yes, good morning, DT. Good morning to all the listeners and viewers of GBN this morning.
Good morning to you.
All right, and to Mr. McIntyre and Mr. McPhail. All right, so I just want to take just a couple minutes. This morning we saw there was an earthquake off the Leeward Islands, 6.8 magnitude, and it was at a depth of 10 kilometers. All right, So I know people would get the information, and there were 3 aftershocks so far: one at 5.2, one at 6.1, and one at 3.7. However, Tsunami Warning Center is indicating that there is no threat of tsunami at this time, based on the data available. There's no threat of tsunami, and they're saying probably the cities that are closest to the epicenter, may see some strong waves, all right, or increased waves, but there's no threat of tsunami at this time. So I just want to let the public know they will be seeing, the information online and so, and hearing people talking and getting information from all over, and people may sometimes go with rumors, but I just want to let the general public know that yes, the earthquake has occurred. There have been aftershocks, but there is no threat of tsunami in the region at this time.
All right. Anything you want to ask, Mr. Of course, Walters, before we basically just for understanding the information throughout? From your end, Sylvan, you want to ask anything?
No, I think that is very, very welcome and very well appreciated. It shows that the agency, as usual, is on the ball, keeping the nation informed, because there's always the misinformation and the panic that can go around. And I think that is very, very telling. So, Mr. Walters, 10 kilometers, we'll understand, is not very deep. And I think 6.8 is also a strong earthquake technically for our region. So the very likelihood of people panicking in expectation of a tsunami is very, very real. So I think your information is really good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walters. Thank you so much, sir.
You're most welcome, yes.
All right. And certainly fruitful information there. And as Mr. Walters mentioned, sometimes folks do get into that panic mode when you hear information in terms of the tsunamis and things occurring. But of course, it's a way of easing the mind as folks move along and they commute for the day.
Very, very essential, yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to our conversation at hand. Sylvan, you heard, of course, Mr. McPhail's response to the question in terms of the leveraging of technology to enhance road safety. Let's hear your take with that, sir. As you mentioned, he fought the initial stages, the use of the cell phone. We understand that is illegal. We're not encouraging anyone, in terms of using a cell phone while they're driving and so forth. We don't do that. But in terms of major signage around the island, you understand, especially in areas where it deemed as it's a hazard, fair to say, in terms of road users, especially for the driving public, those who drive along. Your take on the use of technology for purposes of that nature, sir.
Well, yes, thank you, Gigi. That conversation could be very wide, it could be very expansive. And riding back on the wave that Dr. Walters just mentioned, leveraging technology, even on our roadways and so forth, is critical, even when you have earthquakes. Even the use of this, a lot of people tend to believe that cell phones and gadgets are more disadvantaged than advantage. But to everything, there's a left and a right and a right and a wrong. A left, And so even the warnings and so on that comes out, the agency can leverage technology to warn people of that there is a strong earthquake, because earthquakes do have implications for people on roads, because there can be split or broken roads that may not be obvious as people move along. And as you move in your vehicle, there's a strong earthquake. Sometimes you don't even feel it, but there could be pulling away off a roadway. But if there is an alert, a warning that comes on your phone and your technology that gives a particular signal, you can be aware that something is happening. Even for the aspect of tsunami warning, when there is a very, very strong earthquake that is likely to generate tsunami, if you leverage technology through the warning systems that also can go through your phones or your gadget, that is a great advantage. A couple of days ago, there was an Amber Alert. I don't even reside in the city where I am. I mean, I'm not a permanent resident. But because my phone, I access WhatsApp, etc., the Amber Alert came when there was a particular situation occurring. It made me and the other persons around aware that there's a safety issue or there's a risk issue that we need to be aware of. So technology in itself should be integrated, I think, should be greater enhanced, towards helping in road safety, and one of it is through notifications and information relative to situations like what Mr. Waters just speak about. So technology do have their really, really good and prominent place. In terms of signage and the electronic means where you have the transitioning and the moving information that goes on across sign screens in areas like you have one of the main thoroughfare on the Grand Dance Road close to the Radisson. You have the street lights that are there, and that's a nice place where you can also have information electronically established that could inform people as to what's going on greater on in Grand Dance or further up into the city. Because there are times when you clear the Golf Course Gap, you can probably gauge the traffic as to whether you go up the Golf Course Hill or whether you go down through Grand Dance. Now, if somebody's coming and they would see that there's traffic delay and backup and so on, you may not even have your radio on, but somebody might be able to see the movement of the information going across, because the police, they are linked into technology, the traffic department, and so they are able to send information across. So it aids traffic delay. It relieves people from the frustration that can lead to risk on the road, etc., because of how they are expected to react. We also mentioned aspect of putting on signs, and the other thing is the aspect of installation of cameras. We believe that as we leverage, as we move with technology and every other thing else, Grenada is advancing quickly. We think that road safety should be part of that, where the police has indicated, subject to anything recently to debate that the greatest risk or the greatest cause of accidents on the road has been as a result of speeding. How well have we incorporated technology to curb the speeders, the people that break the speed limit on our roads? Should we not establish more cameras in prominent places across Grenada? There are places where you can bet your bottom dollar there will be some vehicle running off the roads, some vehicle may meet in an accident head-on, side-on, etc. There might be a hit and run. For instance, the Morris Bishop Highway strip of road. That road is so exposed. There need to be cameras maybe on every other pole or light going down that street. Recently there was a hit and run. I am not too sure that case is even solved, that they found the person who did that. Now, the state mechanism may not have the ability always to establish cameras linked into a central system across the country. But there's also the need to move into memorandum of understanding with entities in those areas so that information could be accessed easily. There were situations where accidents occurred and there were cameras facing those streets where footage were captured. And those entities gave real difficulties and challenge in releasing that information. And in some instances, some of them wiped the information off, or some of them, based on the storage space, it exited the system even before it could have been accessed by the police. So those are some instances that we believe that throughout our country, those areas should be identified where you have accident-prone areas, where, for instance, vehicles can run off. You may have rock falls for other hazard information areas and so on. You could install signs or cameras in those areas and relay the information through a central system so that people could be aware.
Silva, I just want to chime in on you for a second, Vat. You made a point in reference to where it stems across the idea of where does the responsibility lie? Who should take the bulk of that responsibility, and especially when you want to incorporate technology? Should it be left up to the private sector? Should it be, you mentioned the police and the aid of the technology that they have? Who should take up the responsibility of that? We know that some folks would say government will have a lot on their hands already. You understand? But it's also critical in terms of helping road safety. If you have to make a suggestion, where should that responsibility be thrown onto?
Well, in terms of the financing of it, the private sector is where the private sector should come in there to enhance, to stand the costs for enhancing this.
I mean, Sylvan did speak about having a level of understanding,
right? So
and the private sector and so forth.
Private public
sector partnership.
But how can we get a conversation of that nature rolling, sir? How could we get a conversation of that nature rolling?
It started on this program.
Yes.
Through the AMSI for the Ashley McIntyre Safety Foundation for Roads. I think you need more voices like ours to push the cause, because we seem to be, like, in most instances, the lone voice in the wilderness advocating for some of these. While we may not have the power to move a lot of things, and we may not have the finances and the resources to do it, but we're actually raising the awareness. And some things that we speak about, people said, but you know, that's a good idea. We didn't look at it from this angle. So the mere fact that we're raising this conversation this morning is a typical example to let you know that there are people who monitor our program. Dr. Walters is one of those in disaster management. He's head of the agency in Grenada, and he follows our program, and he listens to the conversation. There are times, sometimes he and I will have off the camera conversation relative to some things, and like things like that. We do have government and state entities and police who follow our conversation. So even if sometimes we do not really see very obvious movement in particular direction, but it raises the awareness, and sometimes behind the scenes they are doing the work. But again, the information coming forth as to what is being considered and what is happening, that's where we have the challenge. But I think leveraging technology is critically important, and I think there is more need for us to have a calling of, you know what, maybe if there is, let me just wind up a bit. There is a state, not just implied, but there is a state entrusted responsibility for roads, infrastructure, and works, etc. There's a ministry responsible for that. So it's a state responsibility to ensure generally that roads are established, road safety is enhanced, or road safety is guaranteed in some cases. The police are the enforcers. The civilians and the private sectors are stakeholders. And so I am saying here that there is need for the coming of the minds of those stakeholders to have a discussion. I don't think one entity could do it all. I don't think we know it all. We just a voice.
All right, so we lost Sylvan there again for the.
Right.
You want to back up in terms of what Sylvan was mentioning there a while ago?
No, I want to look at the technology from a different angle, because it can also have a negative use. Mm-hmm. There are often times when the police have checkpoints.
Yes.
And what you find guys would be doing, sending out blast messages. Guys, police are on...
Avoid certain areas. Because
right, the police in Grandans, the police here, police there, which I think is not a very good thing in terms of the technology.
Well, we're looking at it from the positive point, from a positive point of view this morning. We understand that, with everything, there's always going to be that negative thing that is going to incorporate. Folks are always going to use it, they can put a little bit of negative in it, but we're looking at it from a positive.
They definitely will use some things to their advantage. But Richard, really and truly, I think the police understand that is happening too, But in essence, if you look at it on the other way, it helps the police in a way to ensure that people actually obey the law, because if somebody sends the information along the chain saying that the police is down there checking, it means that some people along the chain will not do something that
exactly. That individual or individuals who decide to drive without license may decide, I'm going to stay off the road.
Yeah.
That individual who may have an uninsured vehicle or an unlicensed vehicle will decide, well, now that I know the police are out there checking, I will avoid driving that vehicle, because you never know, an accident could occur, and what can happen there, but you being unlicensed vehicle and uninsured vehicle, what could occur? So
the police,
it has some positive, even though it's used for a negative, it has some positives in it, right?
Of course. The police are aware, they know these things do happen. And so the police is not always about arresting and charging people. The police is also about prevention of crime and not just detection.
All right. Mr. Mac, we due for a break. Let's take that break. When we come back, we'll offer the opportunity to our listeners and viewers to maybe if they want to chime in on this morning's program. We just have approximately just about 10 more minutes left on the program. So let's take that break. When we come back, we certainly will give the opportunity to our listeners and viewers to call in and be part of the conversation this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
In Grenada, sports.
Grenada, get ready! GBN and the Ministry of Education presents Christmas Harmonies 1.0. The inaugural primary school choir singing competition, December 5th, 1 p.m. The Grenada Trade Center. 15 schools, magical voices, and fierce competition. Cheer for your favorites in categories like Overall Champion, Most Creative, Best Solo, and Best Group. Entrance adults $10, children $5. Don't miss the holiday magic. Christmas Harmonies 1.0, where Grenada's brightest and youngest voices shine. Be there.
Listeners, welcome back, viewers, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. Welcome back to Mr. McIntyre, and we have Mr. Richard McPhail with us this morning here on today's program. We talk in road safety this morning. Of course, we talk our conversation a lot featured on of course the likes of having technology incorporated in terms of road safety, and we heard from Mr. McIntyre, we heard from Mr. McPhail in terms of their opinion in terms of how technology could help us a whole lot. We talk about the negatives and positives of it also in terms of technology being incorporated in terms of road safety. This opportunity we give to of course our listeners and viewers this morning. 435-2041. You have double options of calling in via the WhatsApp and the direct line. I think we do have our first caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning, welcome. Guess we lost that caller there. 435-2041. Gentlemen, as we await the callers, Sylvain, you were making a point, but then we lost you a wee bit. And you see sometimes technology could fail us at times a wee bit. But I think we do have a caller again. Caller, you are live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I want to talk about something concerning Lamode Junction.
Lamode Junction?
Yes, concerning our stop.
Go right ahead, sir. We're listening. Go right ahead, please.
I didn't hear you.
Caller, I asked that you go right ahead. We're listening. Go right ahead.
Sure. Lamode Junction really need a bus stop. In case rain coming, children have nowhere to shelter. Go in Bolio School. You go into town, you have nowhere to shelter from the sun or even rain coming. You have a shop on the east side. That shop gate always closed. So you cannot shelter any people, please. So Lamode Junction really need a bus stop. Not where the bus stop down in the Monge down there. Lamode Junction need a bus stop.
But have you ever tried talking to your anyone in authority, your parliamentary representative, any other sort in terms of having something of that nature done, sir?
No, I never had a conversation with anybody. I just decided that they have the program, I decided to talk about it.
Okay.
Great idea.
We certainly hope that someone is listening, and of course that could be implemented or put in place. Because you said it's badly needed.
We appreciate the camera, because if the children crossing the road, vehicle coming from Bolio, and you're crossing the road, you could watch the camera, you could see a vehicle coming down. But days we really need a bus stop. If rain coming, you have nowhere to shelter.
All right. Thank you, caller.
If you know the junction, a lot of people that go to Bolio, funeral from Lamode, going to Bolio. Everybody's Bolio. Going to Bolio, go to Tong, nowhere to shelter there.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. A great point there. We do have another caller via the WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, GT, and how are you doing?
Doing great, sir. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, sir. Thank you very much for asking. You did speak about the technology in using to aid the traffic. Now, I think a GPS app that tells you where the clogs are in different places and so directs person to different areas so that they do not get into congestions. Now, when a person gets into a congestion, coming out of a congestion, the person decides, well, let me race to get to my destination at the time that I wish to get it.
Caller there? Caller there?
Similar to what you were saying earlier.
And they can go to their destination in a quicker time because the GPS would have actually pointed them in the correct direction. I think that would be an aid to the traffic in general.
All right.
Very good.
Please note that this can be a private entity endorsing on that, and persons who want to use the app can pay for it. And therefore, the police can also do it and actually include where people can pay to get the app, and they can actually get so that the cost could be recovered and everybody could receive income in that way.
Excellent idea.
Excellent idea, sir. Excellent idea.
Excellent idea. Great. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's go. We do have another caller via WhatsApp. I guess we lost that one. Let's go to the direct line. Caller live. Good morning and welcome. Caller live. Good morning.
Yes, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
How was your weekend?
Good, great.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, concern Greener lacking. What I see Greener lacking right now is engineers. 40 years, Greener just remain one way. Nothing going different, just one way. No, they building around the airport come up right now. I told them on the way for the past time gone by, our road in Greener is too flat. So water always settle and damage the road. Build the road at Turtleback the road, so water won't settle on the road, water always run up. Now, they're doing the road in points, when they come right up now, I think the tongue might pave it up. I advise the people in authority, pave the road Turtleback wise. Don't put the road flat as a biscuit. Because you always get damage and water always settling like a swimming pool and all about the swimming pool. You conquer the road, put on top of it. Now, this tongue there right now, in Central, this tongue there, bus terminus, is the most boiling city in the tongue. The concrete is heat, the building is heat, and sunshine on the concrete, and you have no tree to consume the carbon from the vehicle and what coming into mankind. So tongue always be a hot place. Let's get some engineers who modernize. Send them and study and come again. Because they're ready for going ahead.
Thank you, caller. Thank you.
Modernize.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We do have another caller. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome. Via WhatsApp.
Yeah, morning, GT, and morning to your guests.
Good morning.
I think usually we have good conversation, a lot of ideas coming up. But I think that we really need to work is our attitude, our people's attitude really is destructive. And until we work on behavioral change, all the ideas, even with all the technology, first of all, our people must develop a little more respect for each other. And by respect, I mean to look at each other, look at ourselves again. Because we see each other as obstacles or something like that. We need to really see the humanity of each other. But equally, we need to understand that in order to have any kind of stability here, we need to cooperate. And I've been talking about community development, community-led development approach. We must do that. We've been promoting more market-oriented selfishness more than anything else. Get this, get that, and we've not been saying, let's work together. What can we do together? And the effort of Mr. McIntyre is commendable in terms of trying to help to and have a more safer traffic. But we need more people to come on board, not necessarily from an organizational point of view, but to see that our responsibility to ensure that the road places are safe. In fact, so many people, including myself, don't feel comfortable on the road anymore, and it's for a few years now. Finally, maybe we could set up, like you have a transport authority, we could set up, with that, within that, a part of it where the governance of the road, the use of the road, and also the safety where people would go out very well and see where the danger and so on, because it seems that some of those things get overlooked. because of the shortage of personnel in the government system. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. And we'll take a final caller and see if we can have a general response to some of the comments made. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
GD, I know you guys talk about technology and gadgets, but I think that the police and Mr. McIntyre, all of them seems to Mr. McPhail. We seem to center our focus on the phone in your hand. But we have to move more about a little bit broader, because personals have them in the vehicles. They come with it now, the Bluetooth. So it's not really the phone that created distraction. The conversation itself created distraction also for the driver, because you don't have to necessarily hold the phone in your hand anymore. You have it on the radio. You still turn to punch the number, you have to dial the number. So we have to look at that broader aspect of these offenses. It's not just the gadget. The texting, yes. What about the conversation while he's driving on the Bluetooth during the phone? That's one. Two, Mr. McIntyre touched very, very, very important point earlier on in his initial stages concerning the Marsha Highway, the Nawasa project, and the walk over the road. I think that's an invalid excuse Mr. McPhail tried to make about the project. Because we know the project was coming. We know we was going to have the walkovers. What was put in contingency plan before, prior to the project starting? And the project is not going, the walkover is not going where the line are running. Because where the line running is on the pavement itself where it's drivable. The walkover is supposed to go beyond the pedestrian, beyond the sidewalk, to cross on both sides. Secondly, GT, you touch about the sidewalk on the opposite side, which is on the business community side. This has been built for how much years now? We haven't come in for that. And this is, if we remember, look at the amount of deaths that occurred in that area because of sidewalks. Thirdly and final, I already talk about walking on the side and that side and the other side. As long as we or the police or the law and all has not get to the point that you start charging people for jaywalking, that would never ever stop. The general public should be more responsible for themselves on walking the nation's road. Because somebody walking, or for instance, to make it quite clear for you, you leave the Mushibami wrong and you're walking down the Marsha Highway. By right, at now presently, they are walking on the right side because they are seeing the vehicle come into them. But what about the person that's going to not educated about that because they want to go by Ace or by Randani, they walk down the other side because they tell themselves, I'm walking kids, so walking the vehicle at your back. And we have a tendency to not to look back while we're walking forward on the nation's road. So sometimes we have to blame the driver, yes, but not all the time to blame the driver. Mr. McIntyre, I will meet you personally and tell you what I have to tell you. But you are doing a commendable job by trying to be an advocate here for the nation's people and children. I commend you highly, Mr. McIntyre. Hold the flag high.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Appreciate your contribution a whole lot. Gentlemen, that's where we come to take a wrap for today's program. Of course, we heard a lot from the callers this morning. Very, very important points was made. Their contribution relating to, road safety in general. Very, very interesting points. Anything you gentlemen want to say before we take a wrap? We have to take a wrap for today.
No, I think the last caller almost summarized the program very well.
Yes.
I just want to say that in redesigning our roads and establishing new roads, that the EIAs and feasibilities of certain things, safety must be more obvious. And I would suggest that greater consideration, collaboration, coming together of the minds to leverage technology towards better road safety.
All right. Mr. McPhail, Mr. McIntyre, once again, I want to thank you both for being on the program this morning. It's always an interesting conversation we do have when we're here, and I certainly hope we can do this again. Encourage Mr. McPhail to pop by again, Mr. McIntyre, so they can pop by again. And
he's the focal point in my absence.
All right, great. Thank you both once again, sir. All
Thank
the best.
you. Welcome.
All right. Hey, folks, that's where we take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Join me again tomorrow for another edition. That's where we say goodbye.